Hello, so it's a Barefoot OT and it's Wellbeing Wednesday. Now, today you'll notice we haven't got Phil because I'm doing one of my own today because I'm stuck inside, which kind of perfectly brings us on to today's subject of bringing nature inside. Now, I've done my back in, so I haven't been able to get outside. So, obviously, this is essential for well-being. And when you can't walk, you can't get outside. It may be because you've done your back in, or you may have agoraphobia. You may, there can be a multitude of reasons why you can't get outside. But if you want to get better and get engaged in nature, you have to bring nature to you. Now, this can be done a number of ways, some of which I can demonstrate here. Some I don't have because I am normally able to get outside. But we'll start initially with going outside. The first key one is having a garden. You can stand and you just look at the cherry blossom there, and and you can have the weeping hearts, whatever they're called, and you can touch these things. You can engage with them. Give them a good sniff. Get your nose in that. Me personally, the bed's ready to plant the veg in, but personally I like to, just have a little stand and enjoy the nature of it. We do have the pond here, and we've got a little section for the insects. You'll have bees flying around here. I've even got the old the fire pit here, which when I can get outside, I'll have a good fire pit. Anyway, the key point of this is being able to grow your own food, to nurture a plant and bring it to kind of fruition, and actually bring something to life. And that's a real key element of the engagement with nature, is like understanding it and being with it. So growing your own is essential to that, and being able to see that plant from a small tiny little seed into growing something big. And this here I bought last year, it was only this big, and now it's grown. You've got the hydrangea behind it, and all these plants will grow. And it's about finding what actually works in the garden and what actually comes together. And as I talk a lot about barefooting, this is one of my favourite spots, just in the gravel. And I took out a pergola and kept this because it's nice on the feet. And I've got all the different textures in my garden. I've got the mud, not got the grass yet, but that's coming. And just standing here for 20 minutes. And most people, will have a spot in their house. You might not have a garden, but you'll have a little spot. And that's all you need. Just a couple of square feet. And you can enjoy that. And you can just do 20 minutes there. You can stand and look. You can stand and look at the cherry blossom and get your feet in. Or you can look at the plum tree. You can watch these things grow. And if you don't have that, from inside, looking out the window, you can see. How good's that? I look out that every morning when I do my practices. I do my fascia manipulation, my yoga practice, my energy healing on myself, and just enjoy that. that spectacle of nature. And inside I have plants. You know, as you can see, my little office space. Office is closed today because the back's not good. You know, I do have a lot of green and nature colours. Green sofa as well. You know, because I like those colours of nature, the browns and the greens, and that stimulates my brain. That allows my brain to. There's another big plant over there. That allows my brain to live and sort of feel the colours of green and sort of browns, which are my favourite colours. Again, up here, you know, I have the spider plant. I let that grow down, you know, and I got grouse leaves. I've got, I can't even remember what that one is. And grouse leaves, grouse feathers. You know, and I collect things from nature and bring them into the house. So when I'm out and about, I'll find a nice rock. You know, it's something that represents, something that feels, and something that I enjoy. I found that when I was walking along that beautiful path. And you know, you can touch it and you feel it, and that's got the energy of nature in it, and you can bring that out. And just looking at that, it reminds me of that day. It reminds me of picking it up. It reminds me of looking at the view over the hills while I was picking it up. So that was really good. And then, yeah, bits you find along the way on the path, you know, like this. It looks really nice, but again, I remember where I found that, and that was on a beach. You know, I was making a fire, and I thought, that's a lovely bit of wood. I'll keep that. And it just brings back these memories and invites you back into that moment where you're in nature, and creates those endorphins, and similar to when you were there and when you were feeling that energy. But another good tip is, if we put on the old stereo, we bring nature inside. We can sit and we can listen to nature sounds. I mean, personally, you know, one of my favourite spots is the woodland. So it's a perfect sound. So you can just sit for 10 minutes and look out the window. So if you take a moment out the window just to enjoy that cherry blossom again. It's really important to bring the insects into your space. You know, you can have a little window box on the windowsill and just put some nice plants, and you can get seed bombs for bees. So they're plants that will attract bees and insects. And in the garden, I actually realised I've got enough for a hectare, and bought that, and then put them all in the garden and put them in about a 4 square metre spot. So I'm going to have lots of colour there. But not only is it bring the colour, and the colour stimulates your mind, it brings insects, and that balances the ecosystem. It brings nature. You've got insects, you've got birds, you know, you've got hedgehogs, you've got, you know, the toads. Larry the toad in my garden's been there a while because there's insects. And it's not just about saving the environment, it's about saving the ecosystem. And if we've got a good ecosystem around in our space, we're going to have other animals, we're going to have things that interact. So you might not have a garden, you know, you might have to do stuff on your windowsill. For example, you know, I've got my radish, I've got my chilies, and I've got my aloe vera. And aloe vera is not just a nice plant to look at, it's good for cuts, it's good for bruises. You can use it, it's a medicine plant. Christmas cactus, and another cactus, and all these. So it's not only the element of growing and enjoying them, it's nice to look. When I'm washing up, I can look at these lovely plants. You see the colour in nature. You know, it's like a spider plant. Yeah, it's a lovely plant. But when it grows, it has little spider plant babies. And you can take those and you can stick them in a bit of soil and they grow. It's such an easy plant to grow. And then when you've made a few, you can share those with your friends. So not only you getting the element, the element and the energy from that plant and the enjoyment from it and the engagement with it and the benefits to yourself, you're giving it to other people. So you have social inclusion, social engagement, and is bringing together like a small community and helping share something. So that's the joy of it. You're growing stuff and sharing. So, if you do struggle with mental health or you do have agoraphobia or struggle with social engagement, it's a footstep into creating a space where you can engage with more people and bring them joy. And if you bring people joy, they return it back. It's the element of nature of who we are. So, which plants to have? Well, definitely the spider plant, the Boston fern, and the mother's tongue. Now, I do like these plants, but there's a reason I have them. These plants detoxify the air. So by having these plants in your house, it's making the air clearer. They're releasing pheromones and endorphins that make us feel better, and they're cleansing the air that we live in. Plants are just pretty things to look at. They actually make the space better and create a good environment for us to live in. So I would definitely recommend mother's tongue, Boston fern, and spider plant to start. Let's drop in a competition here, because you've already subscribed because you're here. So I think we'll do either the best comment of what you'd like us to discuss, what you'd like in the Wellbeing Wednesdays. What are you struggling with? What have we spoken about that you'd like more information about? So drop that in the comments. And the best one, it'll take a little while to grow mother's tongue, but I'll send you a mother's tongue, but definitely send you a spider plant. So you can start your own little epic kind of growth thing in your house. And we have loads. Well, I have loads. Rubber plant, cactus, peace lily, and these all are nice to look at. I mean, I don't have a television. I do have a laptop, but I'll sit and look at the plants. I don't just sit and gaze at plants all day, but it just makes that energy of the room. And I mean, I've not had these that long. I've not been here that long, and they're growing and they'll get big. And as they get bigger and bigger, it's going to create like a little jungle vibe in my house, which for some might be a bit too much, but for me, that's perfect. So, is there research? There's loads of research into this. They've done research. I think it was Milne from Barcelona University. Having plants in a house even helps people with ADHD. The toxins they give off, and again it comes back to the fractal patterns we've spoken before. It's having that natural element within your home that just breaks down those sharp, stiff patterns that are gonna make your mind move quicker and stimulate stronger symptoms of ADHD and that kind of brain fog and that, whoa, where are you looking? By having plants, it breaks it down. And I do often find, being neurodiverse myself, sometimes I do just put on some lovely jungle sounds or woodland sounds and look at the plants. Sometimes I just close my eyes and meditate and enjoy that moment of being immersed in what I enjoy. So even though I can't get out, I can't be in a wild camp because this bank holiday, I'd love to have gone for a wild camp. But I couldn't because my back was sore and I was unable to walk that distance. So I just look at my plants and listen to the sounds and imagine myself there. And there are other possibilities of things you can do. We have a wealth of technology these days. Things like YouTube. So if you want to go and walk in the jungle in Costa Rica, you can type that into YouTube. Spend 20 minutes watching that. You don't get the smells and you don't get the energy, but you're still getting that stimulation from the. You're probably getting about, 50 to 60% of what you would get, but it's better than nothing. And as you try these techniques, you you'll find what works for you and what stimulates your mind the most. So, yeah, that's it in a nutshell. I mean, obviously, if you want to know more, get in touch and we'll explain more, and we can do a detailed little breakdown for you. And as an occupational therapist, I understand everything's different for every person, and not everything will work for the same person. But if that's something you want to discuss, we can make a program for you and kind of find something that'll work for you. Whether it's a mixture of the plants, sounds, or the video, or whether it's just having a bit of lavender and sniffing that and just having that around you, or having something that reminds you of a smell of nature, like a pine oil burner. Sometimes I do that, and you can close your eyes, add forest sounds on, and smell the pine, and you can visualize yourself being in that environment. So, some quick tips, a little breakdown. Get plants. Plants in your house are the key to creating nature. Pick the 3 plants: Boston fern, mother's tongue, and spider plant. They will detoxify the space, and they're nice to look at. Find a playlist that you enjoy, whether it's crashing waves on a beach, whether it's forest sounds, or whether it's the wind. Try that. Use YouTube. YouTube has a plethora of nature videos you can watch. You could probably pick a video from anywhere in the world you'd like to go and just spend 20 minutes watching that. And lastly, when you are out, and when you do get out, and you see a rock, a stone, a pine cone, a feather, something you like, pick it up and take it home. And that will bring the memories back of those walks. And the key is to use what parts of nature you have in your house, in your home, to remind yourself of when you are outside, when you have been outside. The mind is very powerful. If we can just give it a little nudge as to where we want to go, it will follow. Anyway, I'm going to sit here and listen to my birds.